Ever since the release of Security Breach, the FNAF community has been in a big debate about whether the books have become required reading or not, with some people saying that the story of the games is entirely solvable without using the context of the books, and others saying that the books give too much vital information to ignore. This debate began to skew towards required reading when the Tales of the Pizzaplex book series began explaining things about Security Breach that were still big questions in the community, and even more so with the release of Ruin, having the books introduce the big bad of the Ruin DLC, the Mimic. This tipping point became the catalyst that led many people to turn to the side of books being required reading. Recently, an update came out to Help Wanted 2, which came with added content meant to tease Secret of the Mimic coming in 2025. This update came with a number of notable things, including Mixus, a gift shop, and the Jackie animatronic. But the thing that had a lot of people interested was this little guy right here. For those of you who don't know, this little menace is from the Tales of the Pizzaplex Book 4, Tiger Rock. And as the name suggests, this is Tiger Rock. Tiger Rock originated as a little plush tiger that belonged to a boy named David. David is the son of Edwin, the founder of a robotic vacuum cleaner company which later sold to Fazbear Entertainment, who made him create endoskeletons out of his factory. Eventually, Edwin created an animatronic called the Mimic to help to take care of David while he works. The Mimic is programmed to learn and copy the behaviors of David to give David a friend he can play with. Unfortunately, while playing ball with the Mimic, David is killed after running into the road and being struck by a white van. Now, many of you have read that story and know exactly what I'm talking about, but for many, many others, including myself, you have only ever heard this story from another source, such as John FNAF or Game Theory. Numerous people would say that it's no issue to get a summary of the events that take place in a story, especially if it involves minor details that relate to the broad theory you're trying to propose. However, when it comes to FNAF, a franchise where every detail matters, the smaller, more overlooked details can become the most vital when it comes to theory crafting. And unlike the FNAF games, where you can easily watch many playthroughs and perspectives of the games on YouTube, the books are a self-propelled journey, something you need to experience on your own, and that is where the problem arises. The biggest part of this community has always been the theories. Ever since FNAF 1, the big pull that brought the community together was piecing together the complicated story using only the details from the games. Since Security Breach, we have seen a complicated shift that has led many people to be confused, upset, and annoyed of how FNAF theorizing has changed. In every previous game, we could rely on the details that were given to put together the story we knew. But since the confusion that came with Security Breach...
What? Oh, what?
More and more FNAF stories started to give us details about what the true story is. The FNAF books have become a vital part of lore hunting, and to me, that is extremely disappointing. When it comes to the FNAF games, money has rarely been an issue, with the first 8 games being less than $50, with a few of those being completely free, making early FNAF lore hunting a very accessible option, and every Steel Wool game being $50 or less, bringing our grand total to $184.71 for every FNAF game. This price trend is ideal, as it allows for many people to comfortably break into the FNAF universe while not spending an exorbitant amount of money. Comparing that to the pricing of the FNAF books, the Fazbear Fright set alone almost matches the price of every FNAF game, sitting at a cost of $142.89. Adding on the box set of both the Tales books and the novel trilogy brings the grand total of the books to $293.78. If we feel like adding on the graphic novelization of the novel trilogy as well, that pushes our total to just under $350. That is way too much money for people to justify, even if it means giving up vital information when it comes to theorizing. The games have always been the core of the theory community, as it's easy to break into, with all the FNAF books acting as fun side content for anyone who yearns for more. But when key details of the lore start dripping into the books, the fun side content starts becoming less fun and more work. To emphasize this, I would like to highlight this moment from a GT Live livestream, where they brought together the community's top theorist to discuss some breaking questions about the FNAF lore.
At this point. Okay, so let's be honest around the room, and ID, if you want to raise your hand, just let us know. But who here has read all the books?
Tom.
And to further reinforce that the book should simply stay as fun additional side content, I would like to show this clip of Tom discussing the books, because I believe he's spot on with his explanation.
I don't think the books are that bad. I think the thing is what makes it feel so bad, or that, oh no, these aren't good, is because of the connection they have to games and how it's like, which pieces can you take, which pieces aren't, and it's it being part of FNAF as a whole, I think, is why there's that feeling of these books aren't good. Whereas I think actually, as little, novellas for teenagers, really, they're actually pretty good.
This is why FNAF games have always been the best for theorizing. They are easily digestible and priced fairly. On top of the extremely forgiving pricing, the time sink required to play all the FNAF games is also quite reasonable. To gauge an idea of how long it would take, I'm using popular Let's Player AstralSpiff's FNAF Marathon run, where he beat every FNAF game, including obscure spin-offs and DLC, all in a single livestream. It's a good one, by the way, you should check it out. Link in the description. By the end of his multi-FNAF game stream, his final time clocked in at an incredible 17 hours and 20 minutes. An easily doable time for someone with a day off. But to David's credit, he's good at the FNAF games. So during this run, he did the entire thing nearly deathless, which wouldn't be the case for most new players. So to be fair, I will be very generous and add on an additional 10 hours to compensate for deaths, cutscenes and minigames, and any additional exploring that players may need. This puts our total at just over 27 hours for a full playthrough of every Five Nights at Freddy's game, including DLC and spin-offs. Let's take that number and pin it to the board for now, and move on to the books. The average human reads at 300 words per minute. Taking this into account, I went through each FNAF book and calculated how long it would take to read each one. This calculation includes all of Fazbear Fright's books, every Tales of the Pizzaplex book, and all 3 FNAF novels. After combining all the numbers, the final total comes to... carry the 2, plus 1, and... What? 82 hours and 32 minutes. That's over 3 times what it would take to play every FNAF game, and that's only reading through them once. Imagine trying to find lore clues hidden within. That could easily double or even triple that amount of time. To put that into perspective, 82 hours turns into 3.5 days of straight reading FNAF books just to finish one read-through. That time sink is a huge turnoff for the majority of the FNAF community, and that is greatly upsetting. Having hundreds of thousands of possible theorists being shut out by a large time and paywall of this caliber causes so many ideas to be lost, and to me, that is so upsetting. I have always thought of FNAF as being a community of inclusivity, leaving nobody out of the fun that comes with all aspects of FNAF. But if this trend continues, the current divide is only going to grow, causing even more discourse within the community until it eventually tears us apart. With all that being said, that was quite a lot of negativity for my liking, so I'd like to end it off on a positive note. By no means do I think that the FNAF community is dying. In fact, I believe the opposite is true. FNAF has been on a rise in the past few years, and with even more content headed our way, we can expect to bring even more members to our growing and loving community. I would also like to mention that the update to Help Wanted 2 was very exciting and has me stoked for Secret of the Mimic. I love the FNAF community, and whether I like how the direction of the games are going or not, it will always have a place in my heart.